Welcome to English Guru YouTube channel. Please click the red subscribe button and press the bell icon to receive all notifications about my new video lectures.
Good morning students. This is the second part of new series of video lectures which comprises MCQs on English literature from Anglo-Saxon to 20th century, which will be very helpful for not only your upcoming TGT, PGT and UGC NET exams but also for all other English teachers recruitment exams. Okay, now let's start. Question number 21 is, which of the following works plot was taken largely from Giovanni Boccaccio's second Filostretto? Let's see the options. Option A, Troilus and Cressida by William Shakespeare. Option B, Troilus and Cressida by Geoffrey Chaucer. Option C, Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. And option D, Metamorphosis by Ovid. So let me explain it. Troilus and Cressida, tragic verse romance, is an epic poem by Geoffrey Chaucer which retells in Middle English the tragic story of the lovers Troilus and Cressida, set against a backdrop of war during the siege of Troy. It was composed using rhyme royal and probably completed during the mid 1380s. The plot of this poem, comprising 8,239 lines, was taken largely from Giovanni Boccaccio's second Filostretto. So your right option will be B, Troilus and Cressida by Geoffrey Chaucer. Now let's see question number 22. Sources for the play Troilus and Cressida by William Shakespeare include option A, classical mythology, मीन्स शास्त्रीय पौराणिक कथाएं. ऑप्शन बी, होमर्स इलियड. ऑप्शन सी, चार्सर्स ट्रायलस एंड क्रेसिड. एंड ऑप्शन डी, ऑल ऑफ दीज. So sources for the play Troilus and Cressida by William Shakespeare include classical mythology and Homer's Iliad, which contains the Achilles-Hector story arc. The romance of Troilus and Cressida is derived from pseudo-Homeric medieval sources and, of course, from Chaucer's great 14th century epic poem Troilus and Cressida. So your right option will be D, all of these. Now question number 23. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, poem by Gawain poet, was written in option A, East Midland dialect. Dialect किसी प्रदेश विशेष की बोली या उपभाषा को डायलेक्ट कहते हैं. A form of a language that is spoken in one area of a country is called dialect. Second option is West Midland dialect. Option C, Northwest Midland dialect. And option D, Northumbrian dialect. So, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, comprising 2530 lines, comprising 101 stanzas, is a chivalric romance. Chivalric romance, वीरतापूर्ण रोमांस या काव्यात्मक रोमांस एक प्रकार का गद्य और पद्य कथा है जो उच्च मध्यकालीन और प्रारंभिक आधुनिक यूरोप के महान न्यायालयों कोर्ट्स में लोकप्रिय था. दैट वॉज रिटन अनॉनमसली गुमनाम रूप से इन नॉर्थ वेस्ट मिडलैंड डायलेक्ट एंड फर्स्ट पब्लिश्ड इन द लेट 14th century. So your right option will be C, North West Midland dialect. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, poem by Gawain poet, was written in North West Midland dialect. Alright. Now question number 24 is, read the statements given below and choose appropriate option. Statement 1 is, from France came a type of short narrative poem, realistic, humorous, often coarse, known as the fabliau. Fabliau means यथार्थ गाथा. फ्रांस से एक प्रकार की लघु कथात्मक कविता आई, यथार्थवादी, हास्यपूर्ण, ह्यूमरस, अक्सर मोटे तौर पर जिसे फैब्लियो के रूप में जाना जाता है। सेकेंड स्टेटमेंट इज द ओनली इंग्लिश फैब्लियो दैट हैज सर्वाइव्ड बाय इटसेल्फ इज डेम सिरिथ, a low tale of how a merchant's wife is persuaded by a trick to allow a clerk to make love to her in her husband's absence। एकमात्र अंग्रेजी फैब्लियो यथार्थ गाथा जो अस्तित्व में है डेम सिरिथ है। एक पति की अनुपस्थिति में एक क्लर्क को उसकी पत्नी को प्यार की अनुमति देने के लिए एक व्यापारी की पत्नी कैसे राजी होती है, इसकी एक कहानी है। तो यहाँ पर दो स्टेटमेंट दिए हुए हैं, इसमें से बताना है कि कौन सा सही है और कौन सा गलत, अथवा दोनों सही हैं। फर्स्ट ऑप्शन इज फर्स्ट करेक्ट, सेकंड इनकरेक्ट। सेकंड ऑप्शन सेकंड करेक्ट, फर्स्ट इनकरेक्ट। सी ऑप्शन फर्स्ट करेक्ट एंड सेकंड करेक्ट, एंड डी ऑप्शन नन ऑफ दिस। यहाँ पर दोनों स्टेटमेंट्स सही हैं, इसलिए ऑप्शन सी करेक्ट होगा, फर्स्ट करेक्ट एंड सेकंड करेक्ट। नाउ लेट्स सी क्वेश्चन नंबर 25। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग कैरेक्टर्स अपीयर इन चाउसर्स द कैंटरबरी टेल्स। यहाँ पर बताना है चाउसर के कैंटरबरी टेल्स में कौन से कैरेक्टर अपीयर होते हैं। लेट्स सी द ऑप्शंस। ऑप्शन ए द नाइट, द वाइफ ऑफ बाथ, द पार्टनर, द मिलर, the prioress, the monk, the friar, the summoner, the host। Option B the person, the squire, the clerk, the man of law, the municipal, the merchant, the shipman। Option C the physician, the franklin, the reeve, the plowman, the cook, the nun's priest, and the second nun। So here all the characters given in option A, B and C appear in Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales। यहाँ पर सभी कैरेक्टर्स चाउसर के कैंटरबरी टेल्स में अपीयर होते हैं, इसलिए सही ऑप्शन होगा डी, ऑल ऑफ दिस। नाउ लेट्स सी क्वेश्चन नंबर 26। Which of the following literary forms came to the Middle Ages from both Greek and Indian sources। निम्नलिखित में से कौन सा लिटरेरी फॉर्म्स ग्रीक और भारतीय दोनों स्रोतों से मध्य युग में आया था। ऑप्शन ए बैलड, ऑप्शन बी फेबल, ऑप्शन सी एल्गरी एंड ऑप्शन डी नन ऑफ दीज। सो द पॉपुलर मिडिवल लिटरेरी फॉर्म द फेबल, which means in Hindi नीति कथा, came to the Middle Ages from both Greek and Indian sources। The fable is a short story in which animals acting more or less as human beings behave in such a way as to illustrate a simple moral। फेबल एक छोटी कहानी है जिसमें इंसान की तरह कम या ज़्यादा जानवर अभिनय करते हैं, इस तरह से व्यवहार करते हैं जैसे कि एक साधारण नैतिक चित्रण किया जाए। सो योर राइट ऑप्शन विल बी बी, फेबल। नाउ क्वेश्चन नंबर 27 इज विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज आर द एग्जाम्पल और एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ बेस्ट इपिक, विच मीन्स एनिमल टेल्स। ऑप्शन ए द फॉक्स एंड द वुल्फ, ऑप्शन बी फॉक्स एंड द गीस, ऑप्शन सी Chaucer's Nun's Priest's Tale, and option D all of these। The Fox and the Wolf, Fox and the Geese, which was unpublished, and Chaucer's Nun's Priest's Tale are the examples of beast epic, which means animal tales। So your right option will be D, all of these। Now let's see question number 28। In which medieval literary form there is a series of accounts of animals, of their qualities and of the legends associated with them, with a moral application made at the end। Option A ballad, option B bestiary, option C apologue, and option D parable। Medieval bestiary, a literary form which probably originated in Egypt in the 2nd century AD and comes from the Greek through the Latin into medieval literature. Here right option will be B. Bestiary. In the literary form bestiary, there is a series of accounts of animals, of their qualities, and of the legends associated with them, with a moral application at the end. Alright, now let's see question number 29. Which of the following statement or statements is are correct? यहाँ पर कौन सा स्टेटमेंट सही है ये बताना है. Statement first. The first record that we have of a Middle English lyric is found in the Historia Aliensis of the 12th century chronicler Thomas of Ely. Second statement, a song in the 12th century with a refrain sung by a chain of dancers with a leader singing the stanzas and the whole group joining in the refrain was called carol. Let's see the options. Option A, statement first correct, statement 2 incorrect. Option B, statement 2 correct, statement first incorrect. Option C, statement first and 2 both are correct. And option D, none of these. Here right option will be C, statement first and 2 both are correct. यहाँ पर दोनों statement सही हैं. Now let's see question number 30. In which poem by Milton the following lines occur? O goodness infinite, goodness immense, that all this good of evil shall produce, and evil turn to good. Option A, Paradise Lost, Book 9. Option B, Paradise Lost, Book 10th. Option C, Paradise Lost, Book 11. And option D, Paradise Lost, Book 12. So Milton expresses this in Paradise Lost, Book 12. मिल्टन ने इसे Paradise Lost, Book 12 में व्यक्त किया है. Where Adam, after hearing of the Christian plan of redemption from Michael, exclaims, O goodness infinite, goodness immense, that all this good of evil shall produce, and evil turn to good. Here right option will be D, Paradise Lost, Book 12. Now question number 31. Which of the following was the most noteworthy allegorical romance of the Middle Ages? निम्नलिखित में से कौन सा मध्य युग का सबसे उल्लेखनीय एलिगोरिकल यानी प्रतीकात्मक, लाक्षणिक या प्रतीक चित्रात्मक रोमांस था? ऑप्शन ए, रोमन डेला रोज. ऑप्शन बी, डिवाइन कॉमेडी. ऑप्शन सी, पियर्स प्लाउमन. एंड ऑप्शन डी, पर्ल. Let me explain it. The most noteworthy allegorical romance of the Middle Ages was the Roman de la Rose, or the Romance of the Rose, of which the first part, over 4,000 lines in short couplets, was composed by Guillaume de Loris about 1227, and the second part, over 22,000 lines, was written by John de Meun in the year 1268 to 1267. Here right option will be A, Roman de la Rose. Alright, now let's see question number 32. Which of the following were the characteristics of dream allegory in Middle Ages? यहाँ पर Middle Ages की जो ड्रीम एलेगरी है उसका कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स बताना है. कौन सा मिडिल एजेस की ड्रीम एलेगरी का गुण है ये बताना है. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग वर द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ ड्रीम एलेगरी इन मिडिल एजेस? लेट्स सी द ऑप्शंस. ऑप्शन ए, द मे मॉर्निंग. ऑप्शन बी, द वॉन्डरिंग इनटू कंट्री. ऑप्शन सी, द फॉलिंग asleep and dreaming. एंड ऑप्शन डी, ऑल ऑफ दिस. सो द मे मॉर्निंग, मई की सुबह. द वॉन्डरिंग इनटू कंट्री, देश में भटकते हुए. द फॉलिंग asleep एंड ड्रीमिंग, सोते हुए और सपने देखते हुए. ऑल दीज वर द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ ड्रीम एलेगरी इन मिडिल एजेस. ये सभी मध्य युग में ड्रीम एलेगरी यानी स्वप्न रूपक के लक्षण थे. सो ये राइट ऑप्शन विल बी डी, ऑल ऑफ दिस. Now question number 33. The ballads were popular in the option A 14th century, option B 15th century, option C 16th century and option D 17th century. So the dating of ballad is not easy. We can say in general that ballads were known in the 14th century and popular in the 15th, while the 16th and early 17th century was the period productive of most of the ballads of which we have record. बैलट यानी गाथा गीत के संबंध में हम सामान्य रूप से कह सकते हैं कि बैलट्स 14th सेंचुरी 14वीं शताब्दी में जाने जाते थे और 15वीं शताब्दी में लोकप्रिय थे, जबकि 16वीं और 17वीं शताब्दी की शुरुआत का जो समय है अधिकांश गाथा गीतों बैलट्स का निर्माण काल था, जिसका रिकॉर्ड हमारे पास उपलब्ध है। ये राइट ऑप्शन विल बी 15th century. The ballads were popular in the 15th century. Now question number 34 is a modern term for a device of repetition known as incremental repetition is commonly found in option A odd, option B ballad, option C lyric and option D villanelle. Other devices used in the ballads to increase dramatic effect include incremental repetition, that is, the repetition of one line from the preceding stanza with an addition leading closer to the climax. नाटकीय प्रभाव को बढ़ाने के लिए बैलट्स गाथा गीत में उपयोग किए जाने वाले अन्य उपकरणों में इंक्रीमेंटल रिपीटेशन यानी वृद्धिशील पुनरावृत्ति शामिल है, अर्थात चरमोत्कर्ष के करीब जाने के साथ पूर्ववर्ती श्लोक से एक पंक्ति की पुनरावृत्ति। Here right option will be B ballad. A modern term for a device of repetition known as incremental repetition is commonly found in ballad. Now question number 35 is Geoffrey Chaucer was option A born in the early 1340s and died in 1400. Option B born in the early 1340s and died in 1440. Option C born in the early 1340s and died in 1450. Option D born in the early 1340s and died in 1460. So Geoffrey Chaucer was born in the early 1340s and died in 1400. Here right option will be A. Now let's see question number 36. Chaucer visited Italy in 1372-73 and in 1378 and came into contact with the works of option A Dante, option B Boccaccio, option C Petrarch and option D all of these. Chaucer visited Italy in 1372-73 and in 1378 and came into contact with the works of Dante, Boccaccio and Petrarch. Your right option will be D, all of these. Now let's see question number 37. Which of the following is Chaucer's first narrative poem composed in the dream allegory convention? निम्नलिखित में से कौन चाउसर की पहली नैरेटिव पोएम है जिसकी रचना ड्रीम एलेगरी कन्वेंशन यानी परंपरा के अंतर्गत की गई है? Let's see the options. Option A, The House of Fame. Option B, The Book of the Duchess. Option C, Parliament of Fowls. And option D, The Legend of Good Women. Let me explain it. The poem The House of Fame, comprising over 2005 lines, is in 3 books and takes the form of a dream vision composed in octosyllabic couplets. The Book of the Duchess, the first narrative poem by Chaucer, completed in the dream allegory convention, was composed at the end of 1369 on the death of Blanche, Duchess of Lancaster. The poem Parliament of Fowls is composed in the form of a dream vision in rhyme royal stanza and contains one of the earliest references to the idea that St. Valentine's Day is a special day for lovers. The Legend of Good Women composed in the form of a dream vision, is the third longest of Chaucer's works after the Canterbury Tales and Troilus and Cressida. It is possibly the first significant work in English to use the iambic pentameter or decasyllabic couplets, which he later used throughout the Canterbury Tales. Here, the right option will be The Book of the Duchess. The Book of the Duchess is Chaucer's first narrative poem composed in the dream allegory convention. Now, question number 38 is, who among the following first introduced the verse form rhyme royal in English poetry? निम्नलिखित में से किसने पहली बार अंग्रेजी कविता में वर्स फॉर्म राइम रॉयल को इंट्रोड्यूस किया? ऑप्शन ए सर थॉमस वाइट, ऑप्शन बी जॉन लिटगेट, ऑप्शन सी रॉबर्ट हेनरिसन एंड ऑप्शन डी जियोफ्री चाउसर. Let me explain it. The rhyme royal was first used in English verse in the 14th century by Geoffrey Chaucer in Troilus and Cressida and the Parliament of Fowls. Troilus and Cressida is an epic poem by Geoffrey Chaucer which retells in Middle English the tragic story of lovers Troilus and Cressida set against a backdrop of war during the siege of Troy. It was composed using rhyme royal and probably completed during the mid-1380s. The Parliament of Fowls by Chaucer is composed in the verse form of 7-line stanza known as rhyme royal. The rhyme scheme of this poem is AB, AB, B, C, C. This poem is in celebration of Saint Valentine's Day using the convention of the dream allegory and the demand demur means love problem. Here right option will be D, Geoffrey Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer first introduced the verse form rhyme royal in English poetry. Now question number 39 is, which of the following women characters do not appear in Chaucer's unfinished work, The Legend of Good Women? Let's see the options. Cleopatra, Medea, ऑप्शन बी ल्यूक्रिस, अरियाडने, ऑप्शन सी डाइडो, फिलोमिल, ऑप्शन डी प्रायरेस, वाइफ ऑफ बाथ. The women characters Prioress and the wife of Bath do not appear in Chaucer's unfinished work, The Legend of Good Women. They appear in general prologue of Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. Your right option will be D, Prioress, wife of Bath. Now question number 40 is, which of the following was not the immediate cause of peasants' revolt, also called Wat Tyler's rebellion, Wat Tyler का विद्रोह 1381? यहाँ पर peasant revolt of 1381 के 4 रीजन्स दिए हुए हैं, तो आपको बताना है कि कौन सा रीजन इस peasant revolt का किसान विद्रोह का कारण नहीं था. Now let's see the options. Option A is the Statute of Laborers 1351. Option B, rise in prices since the Black Death. Option C, abundance of workers and wages. And option D, imposition of poll tax by John of Gaunt. So, abundance of workers and wages was not the immediate cause of peasants' revolt, also called Wat Tyler's rebellion 1381. यहाँ पर ऑप्शन ए, बी और डी में जो रीजन्स बताए गए हैं peasants' revolt के, वो सही हैं, लेकिन सी ऑप्शन में जो स्टेटमेंट दिया गया है, जो रीजन बताया गया है, abundance of workers and wages, ये सही नहीं है. Dear students, I would like to conclude my today's video lecture. I'll be soon back with third part. Till then, you all take care of yourself. I wish you all the best.